Welcome back to the Levels podcast. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG, Willie Mason. OG, how was your weekend, brother?
Good, really good. Probably different from the grand final weekend.
Yeah,
right? It was like totally opposite. Whatever it was, I woke up on Sunday, I was like, oh, I feel good.
You feel fresh?
Compared to last Sunday, right? Saturday was all right. It wasn't too much, but it was enough to wake up and go, oh, jeez, that hurt.
Weird weekend, no footy.
Yeah,
I'm a big NFL fan, so I look forward every weekend
to Monday, but
yeah,
so long.
That Friday and Saturday night is like,
there's nothing to do.
I know we had the grand final on the Sunday,
Yeah.
but you had Friday and Saturday night to go. It's coming up, you know. We got this feeling, but it was a weird feeling not to have any footy.
Good
on the
quality
weekend.
family time, right? Just stayed at home, cooked, and just hung out with the family. A little bruise here,
Yeah,
a little head clash.
Arch got you.
That's
He's
his
a terrible
teeth.
AA.
That's his teeth.
Shit. Lenny's been biting me heaps too.
But it was proper head clash.
Yeah.
It bring back so much like trauma, right? I've fractured that. It was when Kidwell got me here.
Yeah.
Playing against the Roosters.
Same
That's
spot.
Socket. This is the eye socket that's been cracked twice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so we're just playing this little game, Hot Wheels and everything, like chasing cars, and he's peeling off flat out, right? He's just so cute. He's a little nude little kid just sprinting up the hallway, and I'm sort of on my bum, but catching him. Bang, he slipped through once, whack. And I went, he was like bawling, and I was like, fuck, probably needed a stitch.
Is Archer our first nominee of Dog of the Week then?
He's a Dog of the Week. He was peeling off the back like fucking Marco Mealy in 2002.
Yeah.
He just bang, and I was just like, and I love the fact that like young kids at that age have no fear, right? So the next time he had a time out for 5 minutes, and he's like, "You want to play again?" I was like, "Yeah, sweet." I've got PTSD, and he's just like bang straight off it. I said, "Don't," and I'm like, "Don't hesitate, just keep running, and I'll catch you. Just Dad will catch you, right?" Yeah, and that was it. And then that was like the midst of it, like it was there. And then as soon as I settled down a little bit, I'm like, "Fuck, blood! I could taste blood."
Yeah,
because all these stuff started on here, right?
So internally,
internally here, there's a bit of a lump in that there. Bang, and I was like, "Why can I taste blood?" I was like, "Must be all that fucking dead shit all in here, just creeping over there." And I was like, "Oh, I'm fucking 43. I don't need one of these."
It's funny that you brought that up actually because, and I'll get back to Archer in a bit too. We get whole new group of listeners that are coming, with the subscriptions, this new audience that are coming through. And I reckon every 3 or 4 weeks I get asked about, tell that fucking Kidwell story. He has told it. You got to go back through the archives and go listen to the story and what it's all about. So if you're new and you're one of those new subscribers, thank you for joining us. 19.2. We are going to get to 20K, mates. We're flying now.
Jeez.
Actually, the last couple of weeks we've had another big surge of about 1,000.
Little Ibaka?
Little surge of Ibaka. I was about to say, but I was trying to finish off. We're only 300 short of 25K on Instagram. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed on Apple and Spotify. Speaking of community, mate, we just want to thank our community, the levelsnetwork.com.au. The merch is live. Mace has got the hoodies on there. I've got the cap. Thank you to everyone that's copped. You can still go onto the website, levelsnetwork.com.au. Go purchase a cap. Go purchase a hoodie. Thank you for everyone who has been supporting us in buying a cap and in buying a hoodie. That's essentially what you're doing. You're helping us out at Levels. Another part of that is our run club.
Yes.
So I want to give a shout out to the boys that come down. I got a message here, and this is from Cocker Family Adventures. As someone who has suffered really bad from depression and found a way to level myself through exercise, hearing Mace tell people to come down, even to walk, and that he will do it with them, made me very emotional. Great work, fellas. You both deserve the success. So that's indeed what happened.
Yeah.
I'll tell a little bit of a story. One of the boys in the run club, I might point him out as well because we had 7. We have Riley the OG, he's done back to back now. And then we had Sash, Ben, Ty, Jake, Cam, and Nick who come down as part of our first run club, our second official run club. But Mace was down there, so it felt like the first official one when you were there, Mace. And one of the big fellas was struggling, so Mace just cruised in behind with him.
Yeah.
I took a group. Shout out to the Missile, James Magnuson, who I do radio with on Saturday. We leave the run club and go do radio together. he come through and set the standards for us. So thank you to those boys that come down. We sat around for about half an hour, 45.
I think that's the best bit, is to sit around after.
Sure.
I think they get a real, because they just love it. They love the show. They love footy, right? And they're just sitting here listening to fucking me and you talk shit. And tell a little bit behind closed doors, a little bit out of school. It's a little bit, it's probably like this, but a little bit more
Put the
private.
phones away, boys.
Yeah,
Don't
phones
record
away.
anything.
It's
Tell
like
you a few yarns.
That's probably the best moment. That's probably the moments I love.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to keep building that. So it'll be on again this week, 6:30. I'll remind you again on Thursday when we start to preview the international round. But today's episode, what we're going to do is we're just going to go through a few questions. We've got some really good ones, some ones that have really made me think about, different parts of my career or what players might be thinking going forward. And then I just want to break down. We're going to do 3 teams at a time. It's an uneven number with 17. So depending on the teams and the depth, I think these 3 really stood out as, unfortunately, the worst teams of the competition, Mace. I think after this, there's sort of like a tier, the Tigers, Dragons and Bulldogs. So I think they all really mesh together well. There'll be similar messages, and we'll try to figure out how we improve all those squads. Even more so, Mace, you've had a little bit to do and sort of know the DNA of the Bulldogs, so I think that's really important as well. Let's get to the first question. Actually, we've got one here that I just caught, and I want to give a shout out to me mate Mutters, Corey Norman, and the London Broncos. They beat Featherson, and they were going into the £1 million game. I think they're playing Toulouse. I believe they're playing Toulouse. So,
Who's Normy playing for?
He's playing for London Broncos.
Is he playing for? How good's that?
Yeah.
He's doing some good travelling, man.
Oh, he's had a good...
South of France, London.
I had a good chat to him the other week. Actually, just on the weekend. He's had a good life for me, mate.
So how old's Normy?
Normy's 33.
Fuck, he's still got... Over there, he's probably got 5 years left in it if he wants to play.
Well, I said this to him.
At that level.
And I'm genuine, the back end of his career in the NRL wasn't the smoothest sailing, right? There's a lot of pressure on him at the Dragons when he finished up. When you look at some of the veteran halves that have been around now, and you look at the MILFs of the world. Look at the MILFs playing for the Dolphins. When I look at a few of these younger teams that we're going to start talking about, you're not going to rely on Normie week in, week out. No. But one thing I do know about Normie, and the perception of Normie is, party boy and, all that sort of shit, because he was in the media for different sorts of reasons at times throughout his career. But he's a mad locker room guy. All his teammates love him. Yeah. And he's at that point of his career now. You can look at it like he's playing with house money, right? So you get him in the squad, he might come back. And
he's not that old, man. He's only Reynolds' age.
Yeah.
He's younger. Is he Benny Hunt's age?
He was my other example. Yeah, they played 20s together. Yeah,
he could do a job for you.
Yeah, maybe a team like the Dolphins or probably wouldn't want to come back to the Tigers, Bulldogs, and Dragons. To be fair, but
if
maybe
he wants to play NRL, he would.
Well, there might be more opportunity to a team like the Dolphins with the young halves pairing of Katoa. I think they let go of Milf.
There's rumours with Burton playing left centre. Imagine him playing at just 5'8", just for a year or two for Normie.
Yep.
All right. I know that the perception of him. Don't believe that shit. Yep. The difference between him and some other players is that he got caught. Well, that's it.
Some of it is true.
Some's true, but just think about good. We've all loved a good time, and he's gotten caught.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there's some dogs out there.
There's some proper dogs. The perception. That's what I don't like bullshit perception how they paint this kid, because I know Normie. He's a good kid. Yeah, and he's a great, as I said, great locker room guy. Everything ticks all the boxes. He's 33. He's not 23 Normie, right?
Yeah.
You don't want the 23-year-old Mason either.
Oh yeah. That's a different kettle of fish as well.
It's different.
So shout out to him, and I think Dean Fudder's playing with him, and
see, they can all do jobs, man. That level over there, they'll carve. Dean Fudder was one of the best defensive centres for about 5 or 6 years over here.
Weapon. He was
absolute gun.
Great servant for Penrith and even the Kiwis. Whenever he played for the Kiwis, he was always unreal. Yeah. All right, this one is from, apologies if I get this wrong, brother, Fiaso, it looks like, Fiaso. Brothers, loving your content, especially the GF breakdown, almost minute to minute. We'll try to go back and watch the game with your analysis at the same time. A couple of questions. That level of analysis, is that the standard video review for Team Spine leading up to a game? And the Cleary try, do you think he had some insight from previous video analysis? He spotted in previous games the 4 versus 3 and knew they'd often fall off structure because of a false sense of security. Great point. They actually had more numbers on that short side.
Yep.
or was it pure fatigue and individual greatness from Cleary?
Going back to the
last try.
Yeah, I'm not just to the try, but like who said the scouting and everything like that for the spine.
So start with that first question.
It is, yeah. The first question is like at an NRL level, they're really breaking down that little movement. Just say Cleary's last try. You're sitting there going, what happened? You know that Walsh is at marker. He went left. Ricky tried to go left, went right. Like, well, no one was in their lane, right? If you really break that whole thing down, Reynolds did his thing in a perfect world. He runs into Walters because that's his lane. Because he was too close to Reynolds, right?
He was at A.
Yeah. So just like if you come off the line straight, you could fix that. But it's like you've got to understand the fatigue factor is ridiculous.
Yep.
And how Cleary even saw those cues was unbelievable. There's only one way for him to go, was right there. He could have easily passed it.
Let's quickly go back to the first question. The level of an analysis in video review that breaks down throughout the year. And I think it's similar, mate. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this. So for those that don't know, after a game, you'll do a full review of the game before. Mm-hmm. When you do that, you'll break down into. Did you say hold, Lukey? When you after you finish the full team review, you'll break off into groups. So you either do individual video with an assistant coach that'll be broken up into two groups. Generally, you'll have an assistant coach that does forwards, an assistant coach that does backs, and even now, I'd probably say there's even more assistant coaches that are helping out with individual video. And then maybe you'll get into some training before you do team preview at the end of the week. You'll do edges, middles, and again, you might do some individual video again. Yep. Plus, and this is where the elites of the elites, guys like Nathan Cleary, are outside of that, and this is, again, you're throwing in we'll go back to what happened with the Bulldogs and being players allegedly complaining about the length of training. A guy like Nath, this is my opinion, and I've been around him just a few times to understand, what he's about and how much he loves sport and how much he loves the game. He'd be going in and doing at least 2 individual video sessions just by himself watching film. And I didn't get good at it, and it's one of the things now I look back on. I wish I'd understood and really knew how to watch video earlier on in my NRL career. I didn't get it. I believe I didn't know. Like, I used to just watch fucking...
Coaches as well, man.
Yeah, coaching helps as well.
Coaching helps. If you've got guys that are willing to sit down with you and break everything down...
For sure. I had some guys that were good teachers of, like, what I needed to improve on while I was watching video. But my level of breaking down film, breaking down games... I didn't pick that up properly until I spent, and I was a teammate of his for 2 years before, was Glenn Stewart at Catalan Dragons.
Oh, really? At Catalans?
Yeah, at Catalans. So,
shit.
I used to, you used to go up. Our facilities were a little bit different at Catalans than it was at Manly. Yeah. So we had this, back then it was prehistoric in terms of like NRL standard. You'd go there. We got changed in the back of our cars.
Manly only caught up with that shit in like 2018-19.
Yeah, when Baz got there. So we got changed in the back of our cars. There was like
fucking awful, wasn't it?
A universal showers, ice baths that we shared with like the Nines women's
It's like
girls
club footy.
And a gym. and there were just more New South Wales Institute of Sports athletes that were all just sort of around. And then we had like a film room that like it just always looked like it just wasn't used because it was just away from everything. So I'd do video, but I never really seen the attention to detail that Glenn Stewart had until I got to Catalans because
Parramatta. Sorry, go back to Parramatta. Were they better facilities? Like when you come through, but like the videos and everything like that would have been around. Yeah, I was just like, Manly was like going back in time. I was like, how the fuck are they winning comps?
Yeah,
but if it's not broken.
Yeah. Well, the video room that I allude to was, I didn't realise until later on, when I was at Catalans, I'd sit down with Glenn Stewart. Sorry, when I say Gifty's Glenn Stewart. And I was just sitting there and I started just peeking over at his video and me just being, unaware of like what to be watching. I used to just chuck on, because you can now chuck in with all the data. You can go Justin Horo, runs, tackles. Yeah. So more often than not, you want to watch your fucking grouse runs when you're a kid, and if you put on a couple of good shots or you're involved in some good tackle, you just like, it's more of an ego thing. You sit there and go, oh, I did that well, but it can also help you just reinforce. All right, fuck, I did that pretty good. That was pretty mad. When I was watching Glenn was watching tape of other players, and for instance, he would watch missed tackles of the other player. Yeah. So when he'd go into games, I started to like watch him and I asked him a few questions about it, and he shared some insight. He'd watch, who's leaning out. So he's a back rower.
On the 3-man. He'd be all on the 3-man.
He'd be watching a lot of 3-man, a lot of 4-man, which is the opposition back rower, and even the centres, because he had that nice, beautiful shape where the back rower would get it and he'd have his brother out the back. So he used to try to look for indicators. I'd imagine.
A lot of cues. That's what they look for.
Look for cues about how to, who's doing what, who sinks in, does he have trust in his half, does he bite hard, and all these little things. So back to the question. Back to the question now with Nath. For sure, Nath is not only doing what's required at the club, but for sure he's doing an extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of
And I'm thinking what he would have done then. Remember I keep talking about that line? It's that one just inside the numbers? That's where they broke it down, right there. Yep. And that's where you get that fucking split.
Explain to that. So the numbers, so you got the 10.
Yeah, so you got the middle of the field, right? And then you got the numbers on the left side and the right side. You get 20, 30, 40, 50. And then there's those there's those lines being on the inside of the numbers on the outside. They try and get on the inside one, right?
Just inside.
Just on the inside. So the number and the inside. It's it's probably about this wide.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot. Because then you get your fullbacks like Walsh not fucking knowing which side to go, right?
Yes.
Because you've opened that side up, but you've got the short side, which is about 4 people, or you can have 6.
Why? Yeah. So why does Reece Walsh struggle with that point of the why is that position tough for him?
Because you got to sink. You're trying to get at the 4-man, right? Yep. Which they did at Ricky. Because then you're going to have the big guys coming around, and you might have the guys staying on the short side. You got to have a fullback there, and if it's a quick play the ball like it fucking was, you're scattered.
Yep.
That's what happens.
On this occasion, it was Billy Walters who come from the middle, had to defend at the 4-man spot inside Reynolds.
And he probably got around first because I saw on the open side, on the long side, you got Carrigan and Payne Haas. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have missed that assignment.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, if you got those, that's a vet move. Yep. If you come across there, you've got to have that you've got to come off the line. You've got to be long. You know what I mean? Carrigan, Payne Haas. You think fucking Cleary's going to get past one of those guys with this reach? You know what I mean? Billy Walters is a good defender, right? He's like, okay, but he ain't moving like that.
An example of where sometimes not necessarily it's still bad defensively, but when you defend in the middle, you got freedom of being surrounded by bigger people that you can. It's not soft options, but you can be a little bit more aggressive, put pressure on, right? Like shoot. Billy Walters almost got caught
with Reynolds
trying to assist Reynolds too much, that it exposed him even more so.
Yes, because Reynolds and Billy aren't big.
Yeah.
Carrigan's 6'4". Payne Haas is 6'4". There's a presence there. So I'm not saying I'd love to go back again and see where they did come from actually. If Walters was in that tackle before and he just travelled, he's doing the right thing, right?
From my memory, he wasn't involved in the tackle. Ricky was involved with another middle. Walshy come in to assist it. Them two got caught at marker, and because they weren't set, and whoever played that ball was a little bit quicker. Should we pause? Let's pause it and have a look. I'll get it up now so we can watch it. All right, here we go. We've got the play here just on YouTube. Me and Mace are just watching it live together. So the play before. There we go. So it's Scotty Sorensen playing the ball. So I believe they were a little bit lost on the shape. So this is just a quick replay of the game. And they got back. So if you look at it here, you've got Jordan Ricky at marker. Walsh. Realistically, Billy Walters is probably just a little bit too far from Jordan Ricky to begin with, that close to the line. Because what that does, because you're so far away, you've got to, if Mitch Kenny does indeed go, you've got to bite in a little bit more. Yeah. So let's look at the first couple of movements. See how he just sinks in a bit? Once you sink in a little bit there, Mace, therefore your movements to come out are going to be more, they're going to be, he's going to feel like he has to go even harder.
So if he's tighter and starts on Nath's
D.
inside hip, and then he makes Nath play, right? He should make Nath play. Go straight up. If he goes right, if he comes off his left, he runs straight into him.
Yeah.
And then Wiki that little feint when he went left, it fucked his momentum up.
Yeah.
And same as Walters. They both went left first, and then they come off sidewards. Go. How do you come off square when you go on your left foot, right?
Yeah.
These are all the little mechanics that they fucking always practice. Come off the line straight. If you come off side, if you take a step left, you're going to come off sidewards, right?
Yep.
You've got to come off straight. Just that one little bit. That's all it is a step. Look how sideways they're running towards the fucking sideline.
All right,
if
so
they're here,
so we've got a still picture now. Nafe's got the ball, and he's just in between the 10 sign and 10 metres in from the line. Jordan Ricky now after the same thing as Billy Walters, just because their spacings were a little bit off and that play the ball was quick enough. They've both gone hard left, therefore they felt like they've had to adjust and come back even harder. So now he beats Ren, which shouldn't have happened. That's Ren's fault as well. Ren's got to get up square because that's a 3-on-3 from there. But again, pressure, fatigue.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Nathan Cleary.
A lot of variables.
That all factors in. Billy Walters is a big one. Just that slight little drop.
Look at his hips and his shoulders.
Now he's going sideways, and you can't afford to be going sideways. There we go. Quicken up. Bang. Gets Walters. Walters is dusted. He never should have got back into that gap. But then again, Ricky Jordan's doing the same thing, the exact same thing that Billy Walters was doing. He, again, should have just been right in that space because he went left first and missed his assignment to begin with rather than just staying square, which is hard in the moment. They've both had to overchase and he's gone sideways. Billy Walters should have been in that gap, come back when Reynolds missed, and then Jordan Ricky should have been covering Billy Walters, but that didn't happen. And then after that, Walshy's on the other side of the ruck as well. So they had 3 opportunities to fix it.
I wonder if they'll ever watch that play again.
Oh, yuck. Feels so sorry.
You'd just be like, that makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
Fuck it hell.
And Big Paddy and...
So, yeah, to answer your question, it's fucking real deep.
Yeah. I don't think... So your last question was... he spotted in previous games the 4 versus 3 and knew they would often fall out of structure because of false insecurity. I don't think that was the case. I think it was purely fatigue and individual greatness.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. People missing their assignment for one step, right? If you really break that down, one step, Billy Walters, if he goes straight off the line, his momentum goes like that. He doesn't go off his left and then right straight away.
Yep.
That's what it is. If Walshy just goes, if he knew his assignment, he goes left, he covers that gap. Ricky covers that gap. It's fucking, this is the
They had 3 chances to stop
fucking, you could have done that. It's like, that's the shit that's going to eat your fucking head off forever.
Actually, 4. Ren should have 3 on
made
3,
the tackle.
Then you would have liked to think in a perfect world in the second minute of the game, Walters covers him. If Walters doesn't, then definitely Ricky doesn't. And if Ricky doesn't, then definitely Walshy does.
That's where fatigue comes in.
But it's the 78th minute.
They're fucking absolutely dumb. But that's when you just... Yeah. Their origin moments, their grand final moments.
All right, so I hope that helps, mate. And I really think that the guys and the players in this day and age, if there's one thing that, if I was ever around a team and the little 1%ers of how you take your game to the next level is watching video and moments like that will be tough to watch, but I think it'll really serve them well.
And what they do, like the guys like Cleary, they look at the cues for when Walsh is in at marker. They always look at fullbacks.
Yes,
they always do. From like origin, look at Billy
position?
looking at Teddy, and vice versa, looking at Walsh is doing, because Walsh takes plays off sometimes, and they always look, especially in those moments like that. Like even in the Mitch Kenny one, play off. You know what I mean? So he's only young, he's still learning his way, right? So there's a couple of little cues with Walsh all the time. At marker, he takes it off.
Even with players that don't take it off, like a Dylan Edwards.
You're still going at him.
Well, you can do video because Dylan Edwards is super keen.
Yeah.
Sometimes he goes too hard.
So does Teddy. That's what I mean. They go too hard. They're always in the right position.
So you can get him back with a drop play back behind the ruck or a nice little kicker. Parramatta have probably been the best team at exposing and Parramatta getting exposed himself with a guy like Gutho who will sit at marker, do his job, and then just go fucking balls out to go and try to cover the kick. And there might be like a little kick back on the inside.
Such an important person on the line as fullback. Because I remember it only sort of come in like in the late sort of 2010s, I reckon, the fullback in the line. I fucking personally hate it.
Yeah.
Me as a middle, I would prepare the line. Everyone was sort of talking, because it takes the talk out of the middles, right? Because they're like sheep, some of them. And then all they do is listen to the fullback. And they have no fucking awareness at all about themselves. Count the fucking numbers. Some don't. Some just want to listen, right? But you always got to have your fucking wary. You got to be wary where you are on the field all the time as a middle. That's what the great middles do.
I think in this day and age now, with the amount of effort that they go through, if you don't have at least one vocal middle like a Paddy Carrigan, and your halves have to be the communication. So you need 3 different levels. You need one of your halves realistically, you'd love both edges, a half or a back rower or a centre.
Yeah.
That's really good at communication. One in the middle just to make sure little cues like
two, at least two in the middle, man.
Well, you need one to come off the bench if the other guy's off the field. But even little tip ups like Mace, like here we go, let's get into this one, let's get legs. You know, it doesn't have to be rah like fuck, let's get leg speed, all this fucking very generic stupid chat. Just really good. Like Paddy Carrigan, that mic'd up that he did with I think he's done 2 now. Outstanding. The way he communicates with his players, I think it's a couple of times he'd be just something simple as let's go, get line speed, get the legs bar, come on, you can go now, get out of the tackle. It's communication like that. And if you're a fullback in this day and age now and you can't communicate,
you're fucked.
You're not
even
a fullback.
in situations like that, I remember just say, if I was coming over Paddy Carrigan, I saw fucking Walsh shit, I would throw him in the back. Get the fuck out of the way. You know what I mean? Like if you're not going to do shit, you know what I mean? If you're not going to be in that front line, get back. And just get into cover, especially on line prep when it's man on man. It's man on fucking man there.
Not many teams are pushing a fullback.
I know, but I'm just saying. But just say if all the fucking balls are in, all the fucking everything's in like that, get the fuck out of the way. Go, Ricky. All this sort of shit.
Yeah,
seen that done before.
Yeah, and also if you've got a strong. Enough of a presence as a player too, the fullback can go, he won't take it like personally, he'll go, sweet. My middles are sweet, we've got that covered.
Get out the back.
And then he can go even a step, he can go a position, he might be able to get to B, C, get in the line. Again, let them know I'm a soft B or C, which means, boys, I'm with you to begin with.
They call it ghosting, right? They call it ghosting.
Well, yeah, it used to be soft for us, but for the people at home, that'll mean that I'm going to go with you for a couple of steps. As soon as they present the line or it goes past my spacing, I'm just going to drop back out and go out.
And that's where Carrigan would have come across, right? In a perfect world.
Yeah.
In a perfect world where there's no fatigue. I understand. I totally understand. I'm just giving it like a bit of a perspective. Like if you've got really good middles, you just get the fullback out of the way.
Here's another perspective. This is from Justin Beeschel. Just my opinion, but I think regardless of the analytics regarding percentages, and there's a few on these as well, by the way, regarding percentages and potential momentum swings of short line dropouts, I just think in most scenarios, unless you're behind and in capital letters, need the ball back desperately, that you're better off booting the ball as far as you can, defending with team spirit, and tackle the shit out of the attacking team. Get the ball back, hopefully not inside your own 20, and try to work your way back up the field. Territory is so important. The mindset of smothering the opposition in their own half far outweighs any potential benefits of getting the ball back on your own 10-metre line. I just don't get it. Justin Beeschel, I think you sound like an OG. And there are a few people that have mentioned this as well, Mace. I really think the situation determines in this day and age what I'm doing with it. And look, I know there's been this whole analytics argument that's probably surfaced.
Last
3-4
years, man.
I reckon even maybe longer.
For the dropout? Or are you talking analytics?
In leagues. Analytics about
10 years, man.
Maybe 10, 15 years, right? Like it's been in the NFL for a little bit longer. I think Desi was one of the OGs.
He started that shit.
At bringing stats into the way you view games.
Gus is the king. He was doing it in 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly believe, and this might sound weird, even though you know the result, I still think if I'm Broncos, I'm kicking the ball short and trying to get the ball back on both occasions.
Just if everyone does their job, everything works out.
Yeah, you just got to execute better.
You just got to execute, and everyone needs to be all in, and there's no plays off. That's
Remember
all
how
it
gassed they were, Mace?
Yeah, man. I'm with it. Yeah. But if Walsh didn't do that, what he did, he dives on the ball.
Yeah.
Or if Herbie catches it, you know what I mean? It's like little things like that.
Or Ren
just do your job.
Ren gets his kick right. He's got a preparation on his kick. Again, it comes down to fatigue. But when we're watching that game, for people that maybe it's Broncos fans that are confused of why they did it, especially after one led to a try and then the second one goes for a penalty and you lose the game by 2. You look back on that. Was it 2 or 4? 2 points. I'm telling you right now. It led to points.
Brisbane's thinking, fuck that. The game was over. It's 24-8. Just defend.
No, sorry. This is when it was.
I'm just saying, if you're a Broncos fan, so I'm not worried about the 2 points. I'm like, bro, we had the game.
No, this is in the first two. The first two, the one that led to the Mitch Kenny try and the one that led to the 2 points. So for Penrith to go up 8-0.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, if I'm the Broncos, we're up 24-8. I don't give a shit about dropouts or anything.
Yeah, but then you don't know that you're up 24-8 at that point. So going back to the mindset of before they kick so when they kick, so people are like, why did they do that to begin with?
I'll tell you why. Because Penrith beat you into submission and
Correct.
you shit yourself.
Correct.
And they've got this fucking aura where it's like, we can't be in our 10 metres because we're only going to make 20. They get it on their 40, get it to ours, and we're under pressure again.
Yeah.
So that's what Penrith do to you. You don't give a shit if you're playing a lower defensive side. You'll kick the fucking thing wherever you want. Yeah. And even if you do go short, you'll back yourself to save that set of 6.
Correct.
Not against Penrith. They build so much pressure and you just don't want to be coming out of your fucking corner and getting smashed again.
Well,
that's what I think. They've built that.
You brought up the lower ranked teams. They don't build pressure like Penrith did in that
It's
occasion.
ridiculous.
So people were again critical, and we broke it down that they sort of took their time, and Cleary's kicking game was slightly off, but it was perfect. They just kept him. They built pressure. We were up in a beautiful bird's eye view. We had we were in a suite with the tab, and we could see during that period every time there was a stoppage, 5 to 6 players would drop to their haunches.
In the first 15 minutes too.
That's when these kicks will happen.
Yeah, exactly. That 17 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's why I believe they did it. I think if you've got a good arm wrestle and it's not at that point, then for sure there's some more value in. And you do see teams do it. Go, you know what? Fuck the short kick off.
Because it can change momentum.
We're down by 2. There's no point, or it's a draw. Like you're probably not doing it if it's 6-6 to start the game, especially when it's 6-0. Because if you do then kick it out on the full, it goes to 8-6. There's a scoreboard pressure that develops from it. So I think if it's 6-6 and they haven't done as much defence as they've done, then they just kick it deep. This one is from our UK listeners, Mace. Another one. This one's from J Lad 90. Love the potty boys. Been a day one listener here in England. James Roby bowed out over the weekend after being arguably Super League's best ever. Do you think he would have been successful in the NRL? For me, he was streets ahead of Josh Hodgson, who went over there and had a really good career. Keep up the good work. Lads.
Agree. Yeah, I've played against Roby a few times. When he was playing for England and stuff like that. He's a world-class knight. Yeah. World-class. He was going head-to-head with Danny Badiris, and he was holding his own.
That's so funny. You talk about Badiris. How long has Badiris been retired for now? 13?
Since 10 years.
13?
He's still going.
And Roby's still going. He'd shitload of trophies.
Fuck me.
I agree, mate. I got over there.
Yeah, he would have.
When we played against him in 16, was the first year at Catalans we were there together, right? Yeah. He was old in 16.
Yeah.
I remember looking
been around for 10 years.
I remember, I think he'd maybe.
I think he ripped out a 20-year career.
Yeah. I remember playing him in 16 and going, fuck, man, this Roby guy's been around for ages. Yeah. And then I played him, I was like, shit, no wonder he's a weapon. And there were a number of players I look back on now during that dominant era where it would have been cool to see him because we've seen some really good ones come over. Yeah. In particular, we'll probably forget a few, but this is in the more modern day era, not disregarding the Adrian Morleys and that of the world, but obviously the Burgess brothers, Hodgson, Bateman, Elliot Whitehead has been a great servant for Canberra. And apologies if I forget any.
And it's just up to them, those guys, and recruitment to get them over. Because there's a heap of English guys that can play over here. But do they want to come over here?
Situation matters.
Yeah, I'm saying, but do you want to come over? You live in London. I mean, you live in England. It's cool. You got your family and everything there. You're in Europe. You can go on holidays. It ain't that it's serious, but it ain't NRL seriousness. You know what I mean? It's not like as intense week in, week out. You play St Helens, Leeds, the top 4, 6 guys. Then you play in the Challenge Cup and you get the dust up.
Can you remember any players during your era that you played against England that you would have
I think all the guys. I think Sinfield would have been interesting.
Yes,
because everyone talks about that, and I'm like, I've still got my
we'll never know.
We'll never know, because he was killing it over there. A few guys that they did it. Do you know what I mean? Peacock would have been good to come over, fielding in their prime, because they were beasts when they were playing in the 2000s, right? They were big, strong, and fast. There's no doubt they would have held their own.
I agree.
It's just the longevity. How long these guys play over there. It's because of the fact that you're not playing 26 rounds of fucking hard-nosed footy all the time. Yeah. Week in, week out. You do, but then you can peel it back with the Challenge Cup, and then you can sort of...
They play more rounds, but the quality of the opposition week in, week out, it just isn't there. Yeah. And I'm with you. I think forwards have always translated really well over here. Yeah. They've always translated a lot better than what the outside backs are. I've seen some... Sam Tompkins scored the winner for the Catalan Dragons. I really think in a different situation, Sam Tompkins would have been a lot better player. He went over to a rebuilding Warriors team at the time.
And everyone's had a target on his head, man.
Yeah.
Even when we were playing, we're like, we'll kill this little pommy.
Yeah.
Because he's unreal over there. It's like it's a different level over here.
Correct.
You know, you made a good point.
The mystique that he had when he came over.
Yeah, because he carves up over there. He still does now, right? But like over here, you put him in a different situation. He's a running fullback, man. We're sending 11 or 12 down on him. Yeah. Over there, you're playing against some lesser sides. He makes him because they're sending 6 down. He's going to carve them. He's going to carve all of them up.
Yeah, that's true.
But yet we had that added pressure of everybody coming for him. And then it was pretty unfair, actually.
Well, one team bombed him, didn't they? And then after that became the blueprint.
Yeah.
And one thing I think you don't get in the Super League. Why I think some lesser name players go over to the Super League and really thrive. Smaller guys. Yeah. If you've got a weakness in the NRL, it gets exposed pretty quickly.
Within 2 weeks.
A team will identify whatever it may be about a player. For me, right, it might be one of my biggest things, and I found this out from players I played against and even coaches. I sink in way too much. So my big thing as an edge player, I used to bite way too hard, so people used to run shape on me because they knew I'd bite in really hard.
On the lead?
And then you could get shape on the outside. Yeah. Why it didn't affect me at Manly is because I had Steve Maddie on the outside. So I used to get away with it. I could sink in.
Yeah.
At Parramatta, though, it was a problem. We didn't have the defenders outside of me that could account for that. But, again, when you go over to the Super League, I don't get targeted as much, play a bit of footy. Offensively, I get into a groove. You can score a 15, 16 tries.
There's a lot of forwards that could make the NRL because they're big, strong, and fit.
Yeah.
Because you can have one of those guys. You can pair between an Adam Fanua-Blake and a kid from England, right?
Yeah.
Because you got Fanua-Blake doing all the silky stuff, or a Payne Haas, and you got this other dog just like doing the hard shit. Yep. Pommies love that, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
Pommies are like Flegglers.
Yeah, Flegler should be playing for Great Britain.
If you're a gun, if like your ceiling for those pommy forwards that I played against, a lot of them were, you'd look at Flegler and go, that's who I have to aspire to be.
Yeah.
Like play outside. You might be on a little bit less money to begin with in your career, and you play with a guy like Payne Haas. You play in a good system. You got Paddy Carrigan. I know a shitload of fucking pommy middles that could have come over and done Flegler's job. Not as good as him because Flegler's elite now, but you could build into that.
In the right situations, all situational. I don't think the young kid from, the Tompkins, he got put in a really bad situation because everyone was still gunning for him.
Yeah.
Like I think I was still playing 13, 14, 15. He was playing.
What year was that? Was that
14, 15, I think.
I'm going to look at it. I'll get it up in the rugby league project as we talk about it. But just quick,
forwards. I'm trying to think.
Can you give a
Farrell? Andy Farrell?
Yep.
I think he would have went well. He went to play fucking England, played shitload of tests for Union. I think he would have went well.
I've spelled it wrong. Can you give a comp for players? Do you remember like what sort of play Roby was?
Roby was, he's a runner. I know that. He used to run off a quick play the ball all the time.
2014 and 15, he was here.
Yeah, so I was still playing.
Yep.
Roby was he's a gun attacker. He was quick as hell. Quick play the balls, used to run straight through. Always go by himself near the line. He was that's all the scouting was on him.
Yep.
Strong as hell, good defender, plays big minutes, fast as fuck.
Very good service.
Very fast, and throws darts from fucking 9.
Yeah, very good service. That's what I remember.
What do you want if you're scouting a hooker?
He didn't have he could, from my memory, and it might be a little bit different early parts of his career, but he didn't really have that ruck manipulation like a Cameron Smith and like a Abby Carousel.
There's no tempo. He just runs.
He's probably closer to maybe a Harry Grant.
Yeah.
Like really good service.
And a Danny Badiris as well.
Yeah, Danny Badiris, probably that's his. Sam Tompkins.
But bigger. He was fucking stacked.
Check this out. Sam Tompkins' first year, 2014. He played in 24 games. They won half of those games.
2014.
It's not the worst. No.
Just because he just didn't do shit that he did in England.
He
still played good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bust or anything like that. He came over here, but he just got. It's just that was when the game was nearly fucking. It was. You used to pick on fullbacks all the time.
Well, look at this, right? So he comes over in 2014. He goes 12 from 12. I believe he probably would have been coming off a couple of man of steals over there.
Yeah.
In 2012, so the 2 years before he comes over, he had lost 8 games in 2 years.
Wow. At
Wigan. So that's how dominant Wigan were. He had a win percentage of 83% and 84% in the 2 years he'd come over to the Warriors. Then they go 50%, and then he only had 13 appearances in 15, and he won again 46%. He won 6, lost 7. But he's sort of a guy that, I think a lot of people look at and go, English players don't come over here and they're successful. Yeah. There's more. I think there's more examples of English players going really well over here.
Yeah.
But you always, for whatever reason, remember
because of the
hype.
Worst case scenario. Because he's one of the biggest name players to make a big deal and come over here.
Yep. And their outside backs and wingers just haven't really
because they're not up to scratch compared to our ones. That's where we always used to get England when we won. We'd never dominate their forwards massively. We just get them on the edge where fucking Billy Slater and like GI and like Gaznia and all these would shake and bake on the edge. The wing would bite in. They're like, because our centers and wingers are fucking elite. They always have been. That's where we get them.
Yeah, their best centers and wingers were more like big, stocky,
strong fuckers.
Run out of yardage.
Yeah.
It was always wet over there, so they'd just take the carries. Yeah, you're right. They didn't have the silky, smooth outside
They didn't have the Matt Gidleys and the Tahus.
Yep.
Like that's the Brent Tates and like Matt Kings and Gaznias and fucking Jared Haynes and like we had all these guns. GIs around the back, Willie Tongas, Billy Slaters, Minicellos. Fucking good luck.
They've got a good one now.
They'll match us in the middle easily.
They've got a good one now in Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah, and Herbie's he's world class.
Herbie is world class. All right, this one is from, I don't know how to pronounce this one, KZASOZE. I'm going to say
it's not even a name.
Sazi. No, it's like a made-up nickname. Question, last episode with you guys did in the NFL comparison with the NBA around the corner, it is fair to say that Penrith are a better comparison for the Golden State Warriors of the NRL. A dynasty made from players they drafted, Curry, comparison Cleary, both have the accolades, but as always, questioned about finals performances until their most recent championships. That's fair. Both Curry, Cleary put their teams on their backs against a young, inexperienced team, the Celtics and the Broncos. Then there's the sidekicks. Draymond is Luai. Both have the skills and play their perfect role, but are most hated by fans, media, and are outspoken and play the villain role perfectly. And then the Grizzlies are the Broncos. Ja Morant, Walsh. What other NBA
Dylan
NRL
Brooks.
comparison? Yeah,
who's Dylan Brooks? No one's Dylan Brooks.
There's no Dylan Brooks for the Broncos.
Nah, you get your head punched in.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, don't even.
Who would be? You know what? Yeah,
good comparison with
It is Golden State.
Golden State.
Yeah, I think Penrith. So too.
Because they're all homegrown, man.
Who's Klay Thompson then?
I was going to say he's Luai, but he's not.
No, he wouldn't be.
It's going to be Yoey.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Someone that's more like
he's not homegrown, but he's Dubbo boy, isn't he?
You know who I reckon? Actually, I reckon Critter's more Steph
Critter,
Clay because big moments.
Yeah.
Big games, big moments.
Big game Clay.
Big game Clay. What's he? 4-time champ.
Yeah.
Critter's won 3. That'd be the.
It's massive 3 in a row, man. I still can't get over that.
Yoey might be Zaza Pachulia.
It might be Andrew Bogut.
Yeah.
He's Bogut.
Yeah.
Massive rap, Yoey or Bogut.
Yeah. Bogut's got himself a ring. He got one of them.
He got 2.
Did he get 2 in there? Oh, mad. Yeah. Yoey's Bogut for sure. Who's Liam Martin? Zaza, because Zaza injured Kawhi Leonard, remember?
Just a dog.
Just go out there and force her and be
Zaza Pachulia.
Oh my God. And then who is someone that's left? Jordan Poole. Who
is Poole?
Didn't buy into the system. He takes off. Matty Burton. Hey, who are you thinking? You're going to say the weak gutted dog, Lukey? Yeah, the weak gutted dog.
Yeah, but Poole's a gun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so 1-1 takes off.
Yeah, I watched a documentary. I don't know how it come up on my algorithm about Penrith and how they started building that shit from 2012 and 13.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking madness.
What's that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. I don't know where. I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah.
But it's from 2012-13. The whole plan that Gus had and the Clearys. And
when was that? When did they drop it?
I think it's old. Yeah. I think it's old because it didn't go into the last 2 premierships, right? Yeah, okay. It was just leading into 21.
Okay.
But it was just like the influx of players that come from just like SG ball, like the Critters and Clearys and Luais. Fisher Harris and Leota were front rowers in SG ball. Yeah. And now look at them. That's fucking madness. That's why that is a proper brotherhood out there.
Yeah.
This is not manufactured or anything. This is organic.
It's a great story,
It's fucking awesome because not many teams have that. You don't have those guys coming up from grassroots football out in Penrith all the way through.
Well,
It's amazing.
We're about to talk about the bottom three teams after this last question, and a big part of that is the culture that's being developed through time that you just can't implement. And then for some of these teams, I got examples of why I think the Warriors went better with their first year head coach than, say, your Bulldogs, Mason. We'll get to that in a bit. And it goes back to that point. Last one's from Dr. C. Thanks so much, boys, for the pod. Despite growing up in the league heartland, I had become really disenchanted with the game in recent times, mostly due to the state and sometimes downright negative media environment that promotes league in this country. It's really refreshing to have you both produce a professional, insightful, and most importantly, fun conversation about the NRL. I'm fully supportive of more players-led media for rugby league, rather than the dominance of the Nines, Fox, Triple M, whatever. You boys are definitely setting the benchmark for future pods. Would love to hear some stories of both your Schoolboy Cup adventures, especially Justin in that Westfield Sports loaded team in 2004. Some of my all-time greats came through that comp, and there are a number of historic schools that helped produce a lot of players out for St Dom's Penrith. Class of 03, same school, Nathan Cleary, Des Hasler, and many others have come through. So a quick story on that Doms team. They ended up winning it. We were stacked. So in our team in 04, and they were all younger, mate, you went to Toronto West, right? So you didn't even go to a big school. Nah. So in our 04 team, this is what our
Toronto High.
Our Hainsey was our fullback. Tony Williams was on the wing.
What?
Big Rex with Leon Bott.
He's a gun. He was a gun.
Remember Leon Bott? Yeah. He's the OG
Freddie Bott. Well, I used to knock around the old man.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was like, there was Matt Utai, Leon Bott, and then now what you see in Brian Dotto.
Yeah.
Leon Bott. I was in the centres. So me and Chris Inu were in the centres.
How good's this team?
Yeah. Blake Green was our 6.
Holy
and
shit.
Either, depending on the makeup of the team, because they're both young, Trent Hodkinson or Chris Keating were our halves.
They all played first grade.
Yeah.
Every single one.
And our entire backline played first grade. And then we had Matt Keating, who played 150 games at hooker. And then who else was in the forwards that ended up going on? So maybe if Chris Keating didn't play 5'8" or half for us, I think sometimes he played like a roving lock role. Yeah. But we had a pretty stacked team. And mind you, all of them were 16. So we got hammered.
Yeah.
Despite having those teams, we played a team called Endeavour Sports. You know Frankie Winterstein and that?
Yeah.
So a few of those boys, Pee-wee Moke was the fucking the Mickey. He was the Mickey. They all went and played, I believe, Bulldogs juniors eventually, Cronulla juniors, and then they ended up going over to the Bulldogs. Yeah. But we used to get hammered. Big Punta Rosanable, you remember him?
No.
He was another guy that sort of went around St George, Souths, Cronulla, Bulldogs. So we had a stacked team of like these young kids that went on to do great things. But yeah, that was our backline for 04.
That's crazy. Did you have just some decent forwards at least?
No, just a lot of toilers. Just a lot of
give the ball to fucking
the guys that played like rep footy at the time, but like as in SG ball 20s.
Yeah.
But they just never really went on. So I was like, back then too, I was a lot lighter.
What was it? What was the competition? Was it Aussie Home Loans or
it was
CommBank?
It was called something else back in the Rival Live. It was
Rival
called
Live. Okay.
Rival Live.
It was CommBank when I was playing. I think.
Yeah, and we got beaten. So I think he brought that up because he was a part of that 03 class. And brothers St Dom's, they ended up winning that competition. They were massive underdogs. Like their team, I don't think would have representation of anyone that really played in first grade. It's funny how it works, eh? Like
you can beat gun schoolboys, man. It's a big jump.
Schoolboys, SG ball 20s. It doesn't necessarily mean. If you had success in those years or you went really good in a mad schoolboys team that it's going to translate into progressing at first grade. Sometimes you just got like bigger, scarier kids at that age.
I did a workshop with Roger Fabry, right?
Yep.
On the weekend. And Braithen Astor, Todd Carney and Roger was leading it. And we're more talking about that. Like a lot of parents had questions about their 13-year-old, their 12-year-old, the 14-year-old didn't make a rep team. I was sitting there going, oh, fucking hell. So these guys, obviously, I was assuming that these kids want to be professional athletes because it's a Saturday at 11:30. You're taking time out. You're paying money. It's dedication. So they want it. So they want to be great, right? So I was just like, well, first of all, your kid's 13, and he didn't make a rep team. Please don't make any decisions like that until he's 17, 18. Chill out. Let him enjoy the game and just progress and get better and better and better. Ask the coaches what he needs to work on. I haven't seen the kid play, right? If he's a bad defender, if he needs to get bigger, he's going to mature into whatever. Let him have fun. Let the kids have fun until they get to 17, 18. Even then, you can't really make a call on them.
100%.
They'll have to make a call on whether they want to do it.
For sure.
Yeah, but just develop the kids, work on their weaknesses, work on their mind, because this game is not for fucking everyone, bro.
When and how did you get scouted from Toronto? How did that come about?
I was scouted when I was 12. Yeah. Seriously, I was in the system.
I know you were.
I thought
it was a little bit later than that. I thought it was like 15.
Because the system back then was different, right?
Yeah,
it was like, so they used to make, Newcastle had their best rep team, right? So from under 12s to 15s. This is the system that was in place back then.
Yeah.
Then we'd play the best from up north, like northern New South Wales. We'd play the best from Western Sydney, the
Like
best
Paul
from
Macquarie
Canberra, the best from
that?
Canberra, and
Yep.
the best from St George, the Wollongong thing.
Yep.
So that's nearly the whole of New South Wales.
Yep.
So you're in this system since you're 12. 12 Newcastle rep team versus Wollongong rep team versus all
Okay.
this. So we'd play you play in your team. I used to play for Macquarie Scorpions.
Yep.
You play for that. And then every month you play against one of those big teams. You go down and get billeted. And I got billeted by Luke Patton.
Yeah, cool.
The general, I'm under 12s.
Yeah.
And I marked, so Mini.
How old was he at the time?
He would have been same age. So he's
Same
under
age.
12s, I'm under
Yep.
12s.
Yep.
So Minicello was on the wing for Western Sydney,
remember
and
you
I
saying
was on the wing for Newcastle.
That's
and
crazy.
we marked each other on the wing in 92. In 92. So I was just like, so you come through the system 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s.
Yep.
And then you get into the Harold Matts system. Harold Matts, SG Ball. And then I sort of come through that system, didn't make Harold Matts, thought my life was over.
Yeah, so what happened then? So
I don't know,
you were
because-
scouted as this big player, 12,
Yeah,
13, 14.
and it's just like, this is when it comes up to coaching.
Yeah.
If your coach doesn't like your dad or all this sort of shit, and I'm
Yep.
pretty sure that was it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was just like, because I was like a gun schoolboy and shit. And I'm like, that just fucking crushed me.
You were smashing
Yeah,
all these 13,
crushed
14
me. I was just like,
yeah.
what the fuck? You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't make this. And this is why I can relate to younger kids. That don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Because not one person from that Harold Matts team made first grade. Nothing. Not one game.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it. And I just went, I could have, at that time, I swear to God, I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
The
You do
dream's
think it's
over.
over. Yeah.
You think, because you're 15, it's like everything all into this, and it happened. I was like, fuck. I was shattered, right? I was crying and everything. I was a young kid, and I'm like, all right, well, fucking, let's just go back, work on things. And then I grew and then got bigger, stronger, faster, all that sort of stuff. Moved into the back row. We're at 16.
And then this is
Because I was
Bulldogs?
playing centres and wing and fullback before
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And then got scouted by Super League.
Hunter Mariners.
Played that when I was 16, 17. Played
Who was that Hunter Mariners? Anyone like
Brett Finch,
Yep.
Ryan O'Hara, Michael Hodgson.
No, as in like recruitment. Like is
Keith
anyone I
Onslow?
know?
Remember Keith Onslow?
I do. Yeah. I remember that name. Yeah.
Keithy Onslow, Michael Hagan.
Yep.
That was the connection to the Bulldogs because Super League went out.
Yep.
Right. So, and at that time, I made all the schoolboy shit.
Yep.
Right. So I made all the right teams, and then Dad passed away, all that sort of shit. And I was like, I didn't really want to play. Michael Hagan, Bobby Hagan was the CEO of the Bulldogs.
Yep.
Keith got a job down in Canberra, so I wasn't going to go to Canberra because it was too far away from Mum and the family.
Yep.
Then I ended up with the Dogs. That was it. It's only because of Michael
Through
Hagan,
Hayes?
Keith Onslow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they picked me up. They tried to get me every single day, and I'm like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I
So
didn't want to
did you
leave
have-
Newcastle.
Did you have a whole year off of footy?
Well, I had so you're supposed to, in 97, my dad died in October 97. So that's when they start training for 98.
yes, that's when you start training
November.
for the development
Yeah,
squads.
And I'm like, I didn't go down till February.
Yeah.
February 98, February 98.
That's the start of the season.
That's the
isn't
start of the season. I had 6 weeks of training, just got flogged, and then just played.
It? Yep.
That was it.
That's
Got
a cool
Jersey
story.
Fleet Player of the Year.
That's a cool story. That's mad. What, at 16?
At 17, yeah. Yeah, year up.
Fuck you.
That was mad. Yeah, I was just like,
You've
that was
ticked so many
that
boxes.
was the journey, man. That was like, and I like, that's why I can relate to younger kids. Like, it's like fucking, I had every excuse to like go the other way. Brother in jail, dad just dying, no money, this, that. Like, fuck, that was in a place where it's like, what do I do, right? That's why I love doing that, and I love talking to younger kids. That workshop was great, right? And like, because you can really, I don't know, like I like talking and educating young kids, even if it's parents and stuff like that, right?
All it takes is one interaction.
Because all they see is the end result.
Yeah.
They don't see the journey. They see 43-year-old me now successful and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they see Braith. They don't know Braith's story. They don't know Todd Carney's story.
Yeah.
We don't just wake up and be like this.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have these. You got to have that drive at that start, right? And I think father passing away was the biggest drive because it sort of pissed me off and lit a fire where I just didn't really understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like hard to put it on now. It's like why did I play like really emotional, really aggressively? It's like because of that.
Trying to take out some anger on people.
Because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I can get on the field and beat the shit out of people, impose my will and get paid for it. It's a fucking dream job. So I never looked at it like a job.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid all this money and being successful and everything. I'm like, this is the fucking best job. The only reason why I always told myself, I'm going to retire when it's not fun. It wasn't fun in 2016. Coach was a Derek. It was fun off the field. Coach was a Derek. And then I was like, I'm 36. I'm done.
And
I was 36, but
now this is the best job that you've.
This is the best job. Because this don't feel like a job. This feels like I'm at a bar talking shit. This is how we talk all the time. And just say with people after Origin and everything like that, we get to sit down and have a chat with people. They're like, you actually like this all the time? I'm like, I don't know how not to be.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of these guys who be talking shit in the green room and then all of a sudden, prim and proper. So this is
I was speaking to the boys this morning, did the run club with Louis and Youngie, and they're like asking questions about Saturday, and I was like, you know what? To be fair, like you're right. A lot of the boys would have come down and just in hearing the stories, because even when I'm listening to you, and I've heard a couple of the stories as well. Yeah. Some of the stories that you tell to the people that come down, they're like, you never hear this. Like, it's a great opportunity to hear some stories that you just wouldn't hear, and that's what we're trying to build as well.
Good community.
So. All right, guys, we've got to the mailbag today. We were going to do a season review for the bottom three teams. We ended up pumping through a shitload of messages, and hopefully you got some good little stories, some good little nuggets out of what we had a chat about. So on Thursday, before we do preview the international round, we'll get into probably an extra couple of teams now, maybe the bottom three, bottom four, bottom five.